Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I am really pumped for tonight's guest. One, it's not really a match play because we got a third guy with us, and then there's a Tiger Woods bobblehead that's going to come up and pop into the conversation a little bit. So there he is. All right, tonight's guest popped into my Twitter feed literally like in the last week or two, and it at first I was like, huh, what? I don't understand it, and then I started thinking about it, and I loved it. I love the concept, the prime, not hit the golf ball yet, but that's the focus of this brand. And I'm excited to just learn about kind of where a concept like this comes from. And I love just everything about their branding. Their logo is great. Their website's great. We're going to talk about all that. And we've got two people, so we got a lot of things. We got a lot of questions. But tonight we've got Sam and Matt. Matt, right? I'm sorry. I totally screwed that up. Okay, I thought I screwed that up. I was like, Matt didn't sound right. Sam and Matt from Cut Golf Company. And it's such a clever, simple name. The brand is just completely dialed in. So in a short, like 30 seconds, tell us a little bit more about the company, what it is, what you do, and just where it came from.
Well, sure. Well, thanks for having us on, Ricky. We really appreciate it. So about, I'd say back in August, I was working with a friend of mine who I was taking lessons from, Nick Lewis out here in Southern California. And he was insisting that I essentially learn the cut off the tee. Well, in the process, I lost a ton of golf balls, kind of dialed the cut in, and pretty much here we are. So what I'd like to say is that I know enough about sourcing to get myself into some sort of trouble. And, so through the whole process of learning the cut, I lost a ton of balls. One day I got tired of it. And then decided, you know what, I'm going to steal a few range balls, go out and play my round. And then what I noticed was my score was unaffected, right? I mean, when I got around the green and onto the green, of course, I used my regular ball, which, being the Tiger fan that I am, makes me a big Nike fan. And that was in the midst of the whole, Nike exiting the market. And, I actually like to say I actually will take some credit for Tiger playing the Bridgestone ball, because that's what I transitioned to. So I would, around the greens and on the green, I would just use my Bridgestone, and, on off the tee and on my approach, and maybe a few shots in between, point A and point B, I would just use a range ball. And my score remained unaffected. And I was just working on my game. And then I said, you know what, I've got to have this solution for the everyday golfer who, may have a gamer, and he should use that gamer, when it matters and when it counts. But, maybe through Cut, we're now offering, something in between, if you will. So you don't have to necessarily go out and play a 2 or 3 piece Surlyn ball. You can go out and play your 4-piece urethane ball at a good price point.
That's really cool. And if you were a real Tiger fan, you'd still be playing Titleist, like going way back, right? Whenever he played the Titleist Pro V1. But that's what I still play. And I actually sometimes play refurbished. So the price point, we'll talk about your price point here in a little bit. So now I love the logo. I love the website. Like, it's such a new company. Where did that come from? Who designed that? And also the packaging is so well done. Like, just kind of wrap up the whole brand of what you're doing and who designed all of that stuff.
So we actually... We took another page out of the Nike book and hired a college student to essentially develop the initial logo that you see. So whether she did her name is Jessie. She goes to Chapman University here in Orange, California, my alma mater. Shameless plug. So I actually coach our hockey team on campus. So through that network, I started asking the kids, like, does anyone know a graphic design major? I'm putting this project together. Maybe they can help me develop a logo. So along came Jessie. She did our initial logo that you see on Matt's hat right there. She did our initial packaging. And then about, I would say, December, when we were getting ready to really get serious and launch, we were able to go out and strike up a partnership with a creative and marketing agency called Scout There, located out here in Orange County. So we hired them, and one of the main partners there, Javi, he became essentially our creative director, and everything that you see visually, whether it's the website, the social media post, is all to his credit. I think he's done a tremendous job taking what Jesse has started, really developing it and developing a very cohesive brand message. So I have to give all the credit where it's due.
That's really cool. What a great idea to go get the college kid, right? That's creative. I like that.
Well, yeah, I mean the whole basis of what we're doing with Cut was, I mean, sure, we could throw a whole lot of money at something, but what if it, my whole thing was, well, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't catch on? Right. So we spent, a few $1,000s on developing this nice brand ID. We're taking these incremental steps and really proving the business model before we go essentially hog wild with spending too much money on logos and websites and what have you.
So why red, white, and blue? I mean, is it obvious, or is there a meaning behind those colors?
I'm a patriotic person. I love this great country that we live in, and it just kind of fit with who we wanted to be and identify with as a company. And because of that, sorry about that, we chose to name the balls the red, white, and blue as well.
That's really cool. Yeah, I have assumed that it was that easy, but just wanted to make sure. Now, you have a very interesting subscription service, and the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play every week is presented by Eat Sleep Golf, and I think he might have sent better questions in than I had. I have some good questions this week, too, and I think he sent in a few that are a little better than mine, but he brings up the subscription service. So can you tell us a little bit about that model and what options are available to consumers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we thought the subscription-based model was a really good way to go about getting people interested and continuing them on our product, on our ball. And it's convenience, right? You don't have to worry about going back online to order your next dozen or your next 4 dozen. You just know every month your balls are going to be arriving at your doorstep. Go pick them up, walk straight to the course, and head out and play.
That's really cool.
I don't have to stop in the pro shop to see what's on sale, depending upon the level of golfer you are. And so we kind of like that convenience factor for the customer. But we know that people are very, very hesitant and non-committal. And so that's why we offer a free trial slate. All you got to do is pay shipping and handling for that at $5.95. No harm, no foul. If you don't like it, all good. If you want to come back and subscribe, you can do that as well. We also just introduced an option where you can just buy a dozen if you want to. So we're just trying to cater to what the players out there want, save them money so they can get more rounds of golf in. And that's the simple fact.
Well, and the subscription model is so popular. I mean, you look at it like I use Spotify and Netflix and Amazon Prime, like all of these things that you pay monthly for. And I mean, Dollar Shave Club with Razor. I mean, my God, what a great idea. I pay you $6 a month, and it's not $1, by the way, Dollar Shave Club. Your branding is terrible, but I pay for your razor, so it works. But I like that model and that idea, and that's really cool that you guys have, and it kind of introduced that to this space. Like, you don't really have that. Like, you have like the Birdie Box is a subscription model, but that's not like I know what I'm getting, and I've dialed in the golf ball that I want, and that I get that every month. Right. Now, are the balls here in the U.S., I mean, being red, white, and blue, are they developed in the United States, or do you work with another manufacturer, or kind of talk a little bit about that?
So I would say, sure, they're developed here in the U.S., meaning we tested them here. We, myself, a small group of our friends tested out the initial, let's call them prototype batch. We work with a manufacturer overseas who is, I would say, a pretty reputable manufacturer in the ball space. And yeah, I mean, the balls are here. We received our first delivery, I want to say about 3 weeks ago, and the first orders have started to ship.
That's really cool. So I assume that it is, but is the golf ball legal?
The 4-piece will be. I think we should see it come onto the conforming list either for the April revision or the May revision.
Okay, cool. Any tour players hit it yet, or are you trying to get it in their hands, or kind of what's your marketing strategy for the more elite players versus guys like me?
I think, well, it's, and I would say, Ricky, it's more like guys like us, right? I think that, whether it's TaylorMade, Titleist, Bridgestone, they all have the tour player, and they've carved out that niche, and they've done a hell of a job doing it. I don't necessarily think that we've set out on that path.
We're a golf ball for the people.
Yeah.
We want players that go out on the weekends. People who are going to hack it. People who can also throw up, under par.
So I'm a marketing guy, right? So I just had this idea. Feel free to take it and run with it. But maybe you sponsor the hackers, the weekend warriors, and you get the guys, like literally the guys that nobody's ever heard of, and be like, hey, John Smith down the street is playing the cut golf ball. And I don't know, maybe just
No, yeah, that's exactly the path that we'd like to get on. And I always kind of refer to, either Jason Day or Tiger Woods, two of my favorite, personal favorite golfers. And I'd hate to say it like this, but if they ended up on our doorstep tomorrow, I think we would shake their hand, be very courteous, and tell them to, be on their way. We just don't have the wherewithal to support anyone on that level. And
if we did, I don't think that we would, because it kind of goes away from what we are targeting. When you start all these big sponsorships and you start everything else, that's where you're going to see this increase, in your cost, and you got to go pay close to $50 for a dozen golf balls. We want to get away from that.
Yeah, I dig that. So do you have plans for retail distribution, or is it just focused solely online with the, direct to consumer model?
No, I would say that we're very, very open to a hybrid business model. When this idea kind of started to formulate, I believe that the golf ball is still an impulse buy, meaning that if I call Matt on, say, Thursday evening, there's no way that, essentially that person is now, outside of our reach, because he's going to buy, he's going to go in and buy his noodle or whatever ball he wants to play, and he's going to go into Dick's or his round. So we have to figure out a way to get our product, whether it's at the course or at at the key account level. So we're not ruling that out.
Now, Bubba has played a colored golf ball recently, and he's going to be playing a colored golf ball in the Masters, and I think that's just silly. But he's a member of the Top Button Club, and I will say my top button's not buttoned on a dress shirt, only on golf shirts, but that's beside the point. We should have an entire show just dedicated to the Top Button Club. But he's going to play a colored golf ball at the Masters. Do you make any other colors, or just white? I mean, you like yellow or pink or what have you, or any plans to do that if you don't already have that as an option?
Yeah, actually, we should actually share this with you guys.
Yeah, plans are in the work, definitely. We've been getting a lot of feedback via Twitter and Instagram, people asking us, do you have a colored ball? We see there being a demand for it in the market right now. It's not big enough to the point where just yet we're going to pull the trigger and tell our manufacturer to go out and build, 100,000 yellow balls for us. But it's definitely something that's on our radar.
Very cool. Now, the golf balls are affordable. So walk me through the 3 price points, and then how you decided to price them as affordable as you did.
Well, I think the name of the game was, make this ball, a reasonable price ball for the consumer. So let me just walk you through it. It's a 2-piece Sirlin ball, which is priced $14.95, delivered to your doorstep. And then we have the 3-piece Sirlin ball, which is actually my personal favorite. That's $19.95 delivered. And then the 4-piece urethane, which is $24.95 delivered. So I think that's I always like to underline, highlight, bold letters on delivered, because I think it's very interesting. I think a lot of folks that are buying online tend to almost overlook that fact. And that to me is very important. And there is no, whether it's, 1 dozen or 5 dozen, you're going to be paying $24.95.
That's cool. Yeah. And I, as to Tiger, buy a lot of Tiger stuff online, and I will buy things that the shipping is 2 or 3 times what I paid for the item. I don't know if that's anything to do with his shape of his career, or if that's just because I found a deal on the item, but that is something that is overlooked in buying things online. So that's cool that you guys include that. Now, I play a Pro V1, and when I'm 40 yards from the green, I want the ball to hit, check, stop. Callaway makes a golf ball. It's very close to the Pro V1. It's the closest thing that I've seen to that. And it hits, checks, and releases. how does your ball compete with a Pro V1? And then what ball on the market does your golf ball compete most closely to?
Ricky. So we'll be sending you our legal fees after the boys at Titleist see this. So we're shying away from making a direct, drawing that direct comparison to, say, Callaway or Titleist on the Pro V. Look, the Chrome Soft is a phenomenal ball. The Pro V is a phenomenal ball as well. What I would say is you're going to get the comparable performance. Is it going to check just like your Pro V? I don't know. I mean, I like it. Obviously, I'm very biased. And I've had some, I know a guy back at my club who's I say this guy's going to die with this Pro V in his hand. And, his feedback was, hey, I'm pleasantly surprised. And I know he's most likely not going to buy her a ball, but to me that was a compliment. And with anyone that I've given a ball to or a sleeve to, I've said, give me the brutal, honest truth. And so far, it's been very, very positive back. At the end of the day, I will say that I don't think, even though it's a ball for the people, I don't know that it's for everyone. I think we know plenty of guys in our playing groups that may not ever play the Pro V. I mean, I know a very good friend of mine, who I play a lot of golf with, who he could care less for it. He just won't play it. So I think, when it comes to the best response I could give you, Ricky, is that, you ask 10 people for their opinion and you get about 15 or 16 responses back.
Okay, I dig that. Now, Eat Some Golf had this is really good, and he compared it to, not comparing again, but he said that whenever they saw the cup model, that he thought of Vice golf balls. Are you familiar with them, and did their branding have any influence on your product?
We're absolutely familiar with them. They do a great job of marketing and branding. We went down a different route more. I look at them as being very clean, cutting edge, very serious brand. I mean, some of the imaging on their packaging is just fantastic. We wanted to be a little bit more carefree, a little bit more like the everyday player. And so when we saw them, did we model it after them? No, it wasn't after them. It was kind of almost, let's not do that. Let's not have this ultra crisp, clean look. Let's be the ball for everybody.
I dig that. You keep going back to that, and I like that. That's a motto, and that's defines what this product is. And it's such a young product to have built such an impressive brand. I mean, golf clap to the efforts there. So
thank you.
You got the hat, you got the golf balls. Any other products coming, whether it's a different type of golf ball, whether it's, golf ball cleaners, I mean, whatever. I don't even know. Like, do you want to get into other products, or are you looking to expand your product offering line?
Yes. The answer is yeah. I think in due time. I think right now we really want to have a focus and emphasis on developing, the following starting with the ball, and then, really starting to segue into the accessory pocket, glove, towel. I don't know that I would necessarily stick tees into that equation. And then, I think more of a longer term outlook is even possibly entering into soft goods, as far as the polo is concerned. I mean, we're very, the brand identity and how it presents itself is very clear on our part. Now, I don't think that you'll see a polo from our end for the next maybe 3 or 4 years, but there is a longer term vision for this.
Very cool. Now, I just kind of I can't stop thinking about just the whole brand that's associated with this, and just, I mean, and the fact that, and I like you talk about the Nike thing, you just go to a college kid and have them help, but I love that. And, we've talked about all these different things that this golf ball does. The model is so unique, and it's so unique to this space. I mean, I feel like golf is always 5 years behind, right? Like the golf board is a good example. Like, who in the world would get onto this alternative mode of transportation and ride around a golf course? Well, 1, it helps pace of play. 2, it's extremely fun. And 3, it helps facilities drive revenue where it wouldn't exist. So I put this kind of in that same vein. So Where can people buy this golf ball? Like, I mean, obviously they could go to google.com and they can find you, but do you have a website? Can they get it on Facebook? Like, where do people get this?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to www.cutgolfco.com. That's our website that shows you all the plans and the options to buy the ball. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. That'll all take you straight back to that website.
And soon Google Plus, wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Yes.
Now, the PGA show is just ridiculous. One, have you been to the PGA show just as an attendee? And two, do you have plans for next January of going and having the golf ball on display? I mean, this could be the model and the concept could be kind of newsworthy.
We almost attended this year. So I guess, to be very transparent, both Matt and I are raising families and have day jobs. So I think, kind of sneaking away for 3 days would have raised a few red flags. I actually like what I do and like to keep my job until this really takes off. I chatted with the folks at the PGA show. They're very helpful, very insightful. However, I just, look, any additional costs that we take on as a brand, we've got to turn around and pass that cost on to the consumer, right? So this is we're a very non-traditional sort of approach in a very traditional sort of environment. So we would love to attend next year. We'd love to come in and meet our media friends that we've been speaking to over the last few weeks, and possibly even some retailers. But I think as far as, a big elaborate booth or sort of setup, I would say at this point, I don't see that happening.
I'm only 3 hours away, so if you need me to run up there and just, I have no problem. I didn't go this year. It's so funny. I'd been like 5 years in a row when I lived in Arizona and Indiana, but then I moved to where it's next door and I didn't go. Now, in a saturated market, I mean, other than the unique selling model, what kind of are ways you're going to differentiate yourself from the competition besides that? I mean, you talked about Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, like the social piece, but anything else you're going to utilize to differentiate yourself from the market?
I would say it's strictly, pretty much tied to the distribution and sales of the product, along with the price point of the product. That's pretty much, I would say that and the brand messaging are the key differentiators. I personally believe that the subscription model is very cool. I think it will take at least the next 6 to 8 months for people to really adopt the product. That's why we will gladly send folks a trial sleeve, and now we're allowing the individual dozen size orders. And I think once people really get to know the brand and trust the product, I think that's when you'll really see the subscription portion of things really come along.
And
that's really cool.
The flip side of that is also we're trying to build it almost as a community. And almost everyone who's going to be playing, we want them to be a brand ambassador. If you're out there playing with a cup ball, go post about it, go talk about it. And, if we see it and we like it, hey, maybe we're going to be reposting that as well. And so it's kind of got this a little bit community mentality behind it. And I think that's something that everyone can kind of grab onto.
Community, like the Google Plus golf community. See, it's meant to be right here. Like, I mean, you talk about selfless plug. Now, the brand ambassador concept, I love that. And I think that that's a really cool way to embrace that. Let the people that are playing the golf ball do the work for you in that respect. What is the hashtag? Do you have one that you've defined and that you're using to track the success in these places?
Our main hashtag right now is hashtag a golf ball for the people. And it keeps going back to that simple message that the ball, we have an option out there for everyone, and it doesn't matter which ball you choose, you're not going to break the bank.
That's cool. What happens if, just thinking out loud, if somebody subscribes, do they have a commitment of month to month, or can they lock in a 12-month, or like is it as easy as like Dollar Shave Club that I can just say, yeah, I don't need them next month?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. And then also we'll tailor plans. So there's a monthly let's see, so I don't mess this up. Monthly, every other month, quarterly. And, you know, something that we want to make sure is that we also take into account, you know, our friends in, say, the Northeast, the Midwest that are going to endure, you know, the winter months, unfortunately for them. You know, make sure that we can pause their subscriptions as well.
Very cool. It was 84 degrees here today. So, you know, springtime is awesome. And I moved from Scottsdale to Naples. I mean, I went from nice to probably nicer if you think about it. And you guys are in California, so you get it. Now,
yeah, the pity is that I've got another 2 hours of daylight. I decided to, you know, with Matt to start this golf ball company, and the last thing I have time for now is golf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you need to, like, I mean, you work in the golf business, you need to, you know, play golf. Like it's product testing and development, right? When you're doing that, I mean,
you would think, you know.
I actually dropped in on my wife while we were in development, and it actually worked. But
that's great.
I'm really lucky.
She doesn't go for it.
No, I'm
hey.
lucky in that sense.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. I didn't tell you that the half an hour would fly by, and it already has. It's been a half an hour. But before we go, we've got this segment called The Back Nine, and we have to ask a question about the GOAT. I mean, we're going to get to him in a minute, but you guys ready for your Back Nine? And I want an answer from each of you. If the both of you are on the show, the both of you have to answer all 9 of these questions.
Sounds good.
All right. Masters is coming up. What's your favorite PGA Tour major?
Oh, man. Other than the Masters? Well,
I don't know. It could be the Masters.
No, I'm gonna go. Okay, so there's not enough time for this because I'm gonna say the Player. I know it's not really a major. I think it should be a major. I think I'll come back on if you like, and we can have this discussion.
Special edition during the Players Championship. We'll come back on. And we'll do like a cutting, like a 15-minute like side segment. That could
I'm
be.
going with the Masters. I can't peel my eyes away from the TV for a second. I mean, just the grandeur of it all. Whew, all day long.
Favorite golf movie?
Ooh, Tin Cup.
Yeah. I'm going Tin Cup.
Everybody's saying that Tommy's Armor or Tommy's Honor, like it's gonna be no Tin Cup. Nothing beats it. Do you guys listen to music when you play golf?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give a shout out to my guy Jim Lynch back at the club. He's our honorary DJ, and he's got a great mix.
Nice, I dig that. What have you ever made an ace?
No.
You should have said yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually, one. That's rare. Like most people have like 4 or none.
None, right? No, I actually decided when this idea, you know, was kind of festering. I actually went in. Long story short, I basically got an ace on the day I resigned from a job.
Awesome. Tip of the cap to that job. See ya.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, it's kind of a trick question. What golf ball do you play? But I'm going to, because of the fact that there are 3 different versions, and you said that the one was your favorite, which of the 3 colors do you play and why?
I play the blue. Just the feel around the green is amazing with it. It's got good distance, but, I mean, the feel is really, really awesome. And that's the 4-piece urethane ball. Yeah, it's buttery.
Buttery, like that.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of the white, and I would say it compares very well to one of my favorite bridge. So yeah, it's a 3-piece Sterling ball, and I like it a lot. Does the trick.
Nice. What is your drink of choice after a round of golf?
After or during?
Well, either. I meant after, but during.
The standard Country Club Greyhound is my go-to, I'd have to say.
That is a good answer. You might be the first person that's ever answered that. I
do not partake while I'm on the course, but yes, after a round, I would say vodka soda with a splash of cranberry and lime.
Nice. What is your home course? Keep talking about your club. You guys members of the club?
Yes, I'm a member at Strawberry Farms in Irvine, California.
I know that property well.
Yep. Yep. So if you know it well, you know it eats up a whole lot of balls.
Okay, we've talked about him a little bit, Tiger. Now I have to assume I know how you're going to answer this question, so be very careful how you answer this question. But do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not? And I need each of you to answer without influencing the other.
He goes first.
I will not.
Okay, well, nice to know you. Next. I'm kidding. I love it that you have the bobblehead. I literally have bobblehead. Like I have every bobblehead that he has ever been on. Like it's disgusting. But
so the short answer is, Ricky, sure. And then we don't have enough time. The emotional side of me says, yeah, I think that Tiger is a true athlete. And he's a very determined individual. And I think, Jack's record is a hallowed record. And I think Tiger would like to do it. But I think Tiger may bow out of the game if he knows that, he won't be at an optimal level while he's on the course. I don't see him continuing on this path.
To that point, I think the day that he wakes up and realizes that he won't break the record is the day that he does retire. And someone on this show a few weeks ago, and I'm stealing this because I just love this answer, is that if he wins one more, he breaks the record. So that's going to be all it takes is to get the fire in him for the next 3 or 5 years to just go out and finish it off. But if he wins, he's going to win no more or one more. And if he wins one more, he breaks the record. So that's not the answer that I wanted you to say. I wanted you with the bobblehead. I mean, that was very clever saying no. You should have just been like, yes, he's going to break the record. But, well, and your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play, I mean, you guys are just getting started, but what's next? I mean, what's the next step for this company?
It's a great question. Well, I can tell you right now, we've shipped balls to just about 30, 35 states, and my goal for the next step is to get them into all 50.
That's really cool. Any other countries besides the U.S. or just the U.S. right now?
Well, I think so. I handle the majority of our operations and logistics here. So right now, most likely as soon as we're done with you, we'll go figure out how to ship into Canada and the UK because we're starting to get a lot of inquiries from those countries.
Also, Australia is coming on big right now.
Very cool. Well, guys, I'm very excited to have learned all of this. Like I said, the company popped into my Twitter feed about a week ago. I'm going to make sure that I follow you there and on Instagram and on Facebook and all over the place. This episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is going to get shared to Facebook and Twitter and the Google Plus Golf community. So make sure that you get there and get to see that. It'll also go on Eat Sleep Golf's website. And as always, on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.